Frostpunk 2 is a strategic city builder first and a survival title second, which completely inverts the priorities of its prequel. Whereas Frostpunk 1 presented players with a single intimate city that forced you to painstakingly place buildings one at a time, and in doing so, develop emotional connections with each frigid inhabitant, Frostpunk 2 goes big. Individual buildings have been replaced by districts that you'll place atop resources scattered about the map after frost breaking through the frozen ice to reach them. While you can expand each district and then add specialized buff-bestowing buildings to them, the overall effect is a disconnected, cluttered-looking super city as opposed to Frostpunk 1's smaller, interconnected organism. Citizens, meanwhile, have been replaced by factions, each of which has a different agenda and core belief system that you'll need to balance and exploit when it comes time to research improvements and pass laws in the council, a fun new mechanic that allows players to negotiate with different factions to broker coalitions and enact legislation via majority.
The votes are in! The measure passes!
While I very much enjoyed outmaneuvering council bureaucracy by playing faction desires off of each other, these council meetings are nonetheless slow burn and infrequent compared to the prequel's emphasis on intense minute-to-minute pop-up narrative decisions. Oh, and the council member bios are almost hilariously shallow and randomized. Finally, Frostpunk 2's arguably biggest new feature, settlements, is something that the city builder genre has seen for years. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is a logical evolution of the original game's small-scale formula. But does it and all of these other changes make for more compelling gameplay? Yes and no. I'm seeing some reviews absolutely bash this game because it abandons what made its predecessor so memorable. But, what else was it gonna do? Frostpunk was a huge hit, yes, but you can't just copy-paste it. And there's no denying that injecting the franchise with a sense of scale has opened up the game in complex and satisfying new ways. All this in mind, here are my micrometric scores. As you can see, there's a lot about Frostpunk 2 that impressed me, perhaps most of all style. The game's emotional and orchestral soundtrack adds pain and beauty to this otherwise desolate world, while screaming wind-blown snowstorms and the crushing beat of your empire's industrial pulse combine to create a memorable atmosphere. Meanwhile, I found the user interface to be sleek yet helpful and intuitive. Swapping from your main city to a settlement can be done with the push of a button, and at any point you can hover over an element and press T to open its tutorial page. As for playability, I never encountered a crash or glitch, and only on rare occasion did I get a little frame stuttering on ultra settings. This said, I was unimpressed by Frostpunk 2's story. It's not bad, it's just plain, and completely lacking in memorable characters. You play as the city's faceless new steward after its old captain passed away because someone left him out in the cold for too long. Side note, I thought my name was Stuart for longer than I'd cared to admit.
Here, Stuart!
In each of the game's handful of chapters, you'll discover a new resource or technology and then complete a long checklist of bland objectives, repeat. It's a missed opportunity considering how much lore and world building seems to have gone into each faction. I would have loved for each of them to get a figurehead you could interact with instead of the detached council lawmaking process. In the end, Frostpunk 2 stops short of being the genre changer that was its predecessor. And while it adequately expands upon its prequel's core mechanisms in understandable and predictable ways, I pity the players that go in expecting to recapture the first title's intimate brutality. Nonetheless, I enjoyed Frostpunk 2 for what it is, a sequel. It's bigger, it's more complex, and for its AA level of production, I think it's reasonably priced at $45 USD. I'm giving Frostpunk 2 an aggregate megascore of 3.55 out of 5, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the game or my review. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.